Hey there, this is the Orlando Squadcast. It is your one-stop shop for all the latest news, history, and updates from the City Beautiful.
Hey, checkers.
Ooh. Yeah. The city is so huge, so there's a lot going on.
So tips, secrets, happenings, anything that's new that's happening, you're going to be hearing it here first.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us as we explore the vibrant culture, people, and places that make Orlando beautiful. Get ready to be in the know and stay in the know with the Orlando Squadcast. I'm your host today, Rob Stack, but I am not alone. No. Today, I'm joined by a man, well, the only man that I know that's approaching 40 and still has a size 28 waist. Jonathan Spiegel. Jonathan, how's it going, buddy?
Thanks, Rob. It's all in the genes. It's going very well. Thank you for asking. I think that it's a good thing that I've had the same pants since I've been in 8th grade, and I'd like to thank my mom for getting me those from Abercrombie & Fitch. So, but you know, I couldn't wear these pants or update my wardrobe if it wasn't for this person directly ahead of me, and his name is Mark to the Raw Maker. Raw Maker, Mark. Mark, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I love your Abercrombie & Fitch jeans.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. They look good on you.
What do you do with all that money
smell.
that you save from not having to buy new pants?
Yeah.
I give it to my wife.
Oh, cool. Cool.
And she buys new pants?
Yeah, she buys me pants.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, it's good to be here, you guys. And for you that are new listeners, welcome. We're so happy you're here. And those returning listeners, you're our favorite one.
That's right.
Make sure you subscribe because we release a new episode every Wednesday on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon Music. We're everywhere. Our faces are everywhere. So go ahead and subscribe. And also, if you could give us a 5-star review, that would help our podcast reach more people that want to be in the Orlando community with us and hear about Orlando happenings and our interviews and all that stuff. So thanks for listening. Yeah, we have a good show, right, Rob? What's going on today in the show?
Yeah, I just want to tell people our goal here is to provide valuable content for those who live in and love Orlando, and for those who maybe don't live in Orlando but love Orlando. You can listen too, guys. Yeah. You know, our job is to connect the community and share everything and everyone that help make the city beautiful.
Oh, that's good. That's
so
a good one.
AI did not write that. I wrote that.
No, you wrote that yourself.
You wrote that?
I did write that. They can't come up with that.
Feel good. No,
they can't come up with the city beautiful.
It felt like it came from the heart.
Yeah, it was.
Because you put in that beautiful, and I know there's a comma in there.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what's on the show today? What are we doing?
Okay, guys. Orlando native, writer, director, producer, and co-founder of Downtown Orlando's The Renaissance Theater, Donald Rupe is on the show today, guys.
Oh,
yes.
Donald!
And make sure you stick around and listen to just how they came to be and what kind of creative art that they're making down there.
Yeah,
so
they're
really
making
cool.
some cool stuff. I've been to a few shows there, and it's different than the other theater, and he's going to explain all of it.
Yeah,
I haven't been there. I want to go to a show really bad.
Yeah. It's going to be cool.
It's really neat. But let me tell you what I did this weekend.
What did you do
Did you
this
do
week?
some stuff? Did you do some stuff?
I did some stuff, guys.
What'd you
Okay.
do?
I did I Fly America. Do you know what that is?
No.
Yeah, I
It's
know where it is. I've never been it. I've never
It's
done
the
it.
indoor skydiving.
No.
I did it. I finally did it. I've driven past it. I've heard about it. I wanted to do it for so long.
Me too.
And I finally did it. It was the coolest experience. Now, so for those of you who don't know, it's an indoor skydiving place. And so like if you're not too keen on skydiving and jumping out of a plane and the high
I don't want
risk
to do
of
that.
death,
I don't want to do that.
That
no,
sounds like so much
You need
fun.
to go and do this. And
But
it is the coolest thing.
I don't want to jump out of a plane, but I want to feel that feeling.
You
That's
can
what that
feel
is,
the
right?
feeling without jumping out of the plane.
What did it feel like?
It felt like skydiving.
Mission accomplished. Good job. Skydive. I dive.
It felt
What's
like
called?
room hovering.
Yes. So, okay, what it is, it's like, it felt like flying. It's crazy.
Were you nervous?
I was terrified, guys.
Do you go up and down?
Yes.
Can you like move yourself around with the wind?
So here's the
Do you
thing.
have to burp to get yourself downwards?
It's not Willy Wonka.
No, I tried. It didn't work. I said, I'm too high. And he was like, burp, Charlie, burp. It's the only way.
Robert.
And it did. I came down. No, but what it is, you're in this like this tube, this like cylinder tube, and they've got this high-powered jet stream that forces out massive amounts of air. And they have to ask you how much you weigh, so they know how much air to push up on you.
Did you lie? Tell me the truth.
I did lie, and then that was like up on the top.
It's just like
They're like, "Did you lie about your weight?" I said, "Yes."
burp, child.
Everybody does. This is America. So
Let me ask you this, because I've been curious about
Robert,
it.
burp!
When you go in, do you go in with the air? Like, do you jump in the room?
Yep.
Or do you stand there and then?
you basically have to fall into the room.
Oh,
and then
my
the air
goodness.
catches you.
Awesome.
So you build levels of experience. So you keep going back and you build levels of experience because there's a trainer in there. He's the one guiding you. He's the one telling you what to do. They do this like routine at the end where they like fly, they twist, they go up and down.
Just to show that you suck at it.
Just to show where you can grow with
okay.
it. So like when I went, it was just me and my girlfriend. And then we went with somebody who had been going back frequently. So she was doing all these moves, like how to change direction,
that's cool.
how to like flip up on your back and then flip over. And then like there's all different levels of skill that you can do.
That's cool. I'm sorry. I have the giggles now after
I would go in there and just try and do a backflip off the get-go.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, you'd be like, I'm
like,
okay.
oh, I got this.
Watch this.
I took gymnastics when I was 4.
I know what I'm doing.
Johnny, no! Burp, Johnny.
Burp, Johnny, burp.
That sounds fun. So it's worth the money?
It's totally worth the money.
How much does it cost?
I think it's like $150 a person for. Okay. I think we had like 3 2-minute sessions, or because it's a lot of force. You wouldn't think that it would be hard, but it's very difficult because the air is really hot. It's blowing in your face like at crazy mile per hour.
That sounds fun though.
And you have to wear ear protection, eye protection. You have to wear this bodysuit, and it's forceful. And then it pushes you back, and so you have to use every muscle in your body to control basically how you move in that space. And even just to like be stable and fall took so much effort.
Really?
Yes.
I can't wait.
It was super cool.
Did you have video? Did you take any video of it?
There's a package where you can get the video. So we got the video.
Oh
and then
gosh,
at the end of this is really cool. And this is how they get people coming back. They usher you into this room, and only for that time, you're allowed to buy your next package for half off.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's what I did. I was like, let me get another package.
You're a pass holder.
So now I'm like a pass holder there. But that's how you keep going back. That's how you keep learning new things and how to like fly. So anytime I'm in a plane and it explodes and I'm free falling, I'll know how to guide my way to
I
fly training.
Yep.
That's cool. Good for you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
great job,
guys.
man.
That's awesome.
Thanks. I hope you enjoyed that.
Should we go into the
I think it's time for the O-Town Throwdown. Folks. Are you excited?
O-Town Throwdown.
Now, for those of you who are joining in, this is called the O-Town Throwdown, we call it, and this is where we update you on Orlando local happenings, theme park tips, news updates, and lastly, we talk about local developments and upcoming improvements to this great city. But we're going to start with Mark, who's got our local happenings.
So this one's kind of fun because it's dedicated to our episode with Donald being on as a the theater community. So coming up May 16th to the 29th, the Orlando Fringe Festival.
Oh yes.
Right?
Yes.
I feel like it always sneaks up on us, right?
And Donald is doing a show at the Fringe Festival.
I know. So let me just give a quick rundown for those who have never been there. This is for 31 years. So this is the 32nd annual International Theater Festival. 2 weeks of live entertainment, unique theater experiences, visual art displays, kid-friendly shows and activities, and a celebration of independent artists. It is the oldest Fringe festival in the U.S. and with its lottery-based selection offers a variety of experiences you won't find anywhere else. You have to buy a button, a Fringe button for $10, and then you can buy tickets. They can range anywhere from couple bucks to $15 to $20 a ticket. And then you can also rent a cabana if you wanted to for either $149 and $249.
Ooh.
So it's cool. You guys have been to the Fringe Festival,
love
right?
the Fringe Festival.
I think it's really
I've been in a show.
Mark's been in one.
Yeah.
I've been in one. I think we all have.
Yeah. It's a really cool. I love that the lottery system. So it's not just like a pick your favorite, like somebody. You know,
like they can play their favorites and things like
so
that.
Like literally it could be somebody's like, I just wrote a show and I want people to see it. I have something to say.
Yeah. And people don't realize this, but it's the biggest Fringe festival in the country.
In the US.
So there's a lot of people that travel to Orlando to do their shows here.
Yeah. You can make it. A lot of people go multiple times because there's so many shows. What is your preference? Do you go and have it planned out or you just show up?
I go and have it planned out.
You do?
Yeah, because I always just try and maybe do one full day there.
Okay.
So I try and see as many shows as I can.
What do you do, Rob?
Yeah. I kind of go with the flow. I'm different. I do it organically. So I'll show up and my friends will be like, oh, we're going to go see this at 10. And if it sounds good, I'll go and do that. Or if there's somewhere else another show that I want to see, I'll go and see that. But
yeah, I like to have like one show planned and then free fall after that.
Yeah.
So you're like, what do we got? And then you can kind of talk to other people and be like, what's really good?
Well, what's really cool is like you can go to the beer tent area where they have all the food. They have the food trucks.
The food trucks
are so good. We got those donuts from
you can
there.
spend you can spend 2 weekends. It's awesome.
And they have live music at the beer tent area.
Yeah. It's great. So everybody go to the Fringe Festival.
Go to the Fringe Festival.
It's gonna be
support
Get a
local
button.
artists.
Get a button.
Get some
support
tickets.
local artists and see some art.
Local artists.
It's pretty cheap art.
It is pretty cheap art.
So it's awesome.
A full weekend of fun.
Some of it's weird.
Some of it is weird.
But we like weird.
There's a little bit of freaky deaky shit in there.
Yeah, we don't mind that.
There's some
That's
adult
all right. Be
content.
yourself.
but
We're the city beautiful.
But they also have a kids fringe too.
They do.
So
They do.
which
Yep.
is really neat
Yeah.
too. So you can bring the young ones too, and they can experience all the fun that
theater,
the weirdos.
Yeah,
can
so
have.
that's my local happening.
That's
So
awesome.
let's
That's
throw
great.
it to Park Nark.
Let's take it to the park.
To the Park Nark. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Jonathan Spiegel, the Park Nark, your local ears and eyes on the ground of anything that you want to do with the theme park world. So I got a little bit of a cool thing that not a lot of people know about, but you got to book it in advance, okay? There is a new escape room at Universal City Walk.
What?
So
I didn't know that.
There's an escape room there, and
I didn't even know there was an escape room there.
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah,
there
it
was
just
one.
opened up. It's in a special designated space and everything, but they have designated rooms with specific movie escape things.
Did
Stop
hear
it.
about this.
So there's a Back to the Future one.
Stop it.
There's a Jurassic Park one. And there's
Isn't
one.
there a Marvel one?
There, I no, I don't know if there's a
Am I
Marvel
making that?
one.
I'm
I
totally-
think there's some
completely
copyright
lying right
stuff
now.
right there.
Well,
you
it's
know?
a good idea.
It is a good idea, you know, but it'd have to be the old school X-Men because it's Universal.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
But anyways,
That sounds fun.
there's another one. It's Jurassic Park.
Back to the Future. I want to do Back to the
something
Future.
rather. But it's an escape room. And they have actual authentic memorabilia from the freaking
No
movies
way.
there. Yeah, so you can touch, or you can't touch it. They don't say, don't touch.
Don't touch.
Look, don't touch. They have like Chris
can
Pratt's
pretend to
jacket.
touch.
You can just use the Force and touch
Right,
it.
right. But not there
Um,
because that's Star Wars.
Yeah, and Chris Pratt wasn't in Star Wars either.
He was in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but he was in Guardians of the Galaxy, which is
Totally.
a
In
Marvel
space.
thing.
Crossing
In
each other
space,
over,
and so it's
yeah.
kind of like
So
an
we see
ABC,
where you
go.
went.
He could
ABC
probably go
owns
either park
Marvel,
for free.
or
Yeah.
We'll
Disney
see how
owns-
you got there.
Disney
Yeah.
owns ABC and stuff, so it's kind of like Chris Pratt is a Jedi.
Right.
New movie idea.
So you can actually see all this stuff
That sounds
from
fun. Is
the
it open
movies.
already?
It's open already, yeah, for sure. But you got to book it beforehand. So
Right,
look
yeah.
it up online on how you do all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
You can't
How-
just show up and be like, "Let me do an escape
I wanna
room."
How
get
long
out
are
of
the
this.
experiences? Is it set up like traditional, like it's an hour-long
Yeah,
experience?
it's a full hour-long minimum
It's the
experience.
same build as an escape room. Just
Yes.
I imagine it's going to be a crazy
Back to
way
the Future.
to get in there.
Oh my gosh, yes. Actually, so let me look up what the third escape one is right now. Have you guys ever been to an escape room here in
Yeah,
Orlando?
yeah.
we went together.
I feel like an idiot every time I'm in there.
Oh, I just get mad.
I did too. I'm like,
'Cause it
they're
makes
like,
me feel dumb.
they're like, oh, toothpick, candle, unicorn, and I'm like, where?
Hit the
How?
unicorn button. I'm like, what are you?
What are you?
Yeah, I overthink everything,
I
and
do-
then I just get mad, and I'm not very fun
Yeah.
to be around at that
Yeah.
point.
It's just those two. That's why I couldn't think of the third
Oh,
one.
well, that's why.
Oh, it's just
They
those two.
should do the Marvel one.
They should do the Marvel one. Old
They
school
were, you
Marvel
were just
one.
I'm
wanting
okay
a
with
fresh
that.
idea.
Old school Marvel.
Old
It's
school
fantastic.
Marvel. You know what they could
That sounds
be?
fun.
They could be in the war room where they used to simulate all of the bad guys for training, and that could be the old school X-Men escape
a great
room right
idea.
there. You got to
Yes.
escape the war room.
That's
Yeah,
a good
before it activates.
Yeah. Definitely. So thank you so much, Universal Studios Florida, for
sponsoring.
sponsoring
Copyright.
this episode.
Copyright. Trademark.
And you know, I'll
Infringement.
I'll be doing my my directorial debut there coming up this fall. Thanks so
Oh, I
much.
can't wait. Can't
That's
wait.
a great one. Thanks
That's
for
good.
that.
Yeah, that's
we
good.
love y'all.
Let's throw it to do progress. I want to know
Progress.
what's coming to Orlando.
All
I'm
right,
just saying if
guys.
it's good or not. Is
What's
it
moving
good?
in? What's
Here we
growing?
go.
Progress?
Okay. One of Orlando's most prolific developers has set its sights on redeveloping a prime Dr. Phillips corner property. Okay. Do you know the corner of Dr. Phillips Boulevard and Sand Lake Road?
Yes.
By where the World of Beer was?
Yes.
Yes.
So there's a 2-story building that's over there.
Yes.
Yes.
They are going to tear it down and they're going to put in like a parking garage and they're going to do new high-end restaurants.
Yes.
So, because
Oh.
Restaurant Row is right there. So they're basically going to add to Restaurant Row, but it's going to be very high end. Speculation saying they're going to do maybe even take Slate, which is another one of
Oh, yeah.
Unicorp's
Uh-huh.
restaurants,
Slate. Love Slate.
and then move that over there and then repurpose that other restaurant to something
Nice.
else.
That's down the street a little bit. That's
It's
off
down
the
street.
row. It's
Yeah,
off
so I
the
think
row.
it's kind of hurting their sales. So I think that's why they potentially want to move it there.
Yeah,
Put it
for
right
sure.
there.
So they may do
That's
that.
cool.
So that's
Although
cool.
I did enjoy Witch. We used to eat there a lot.
Oh, which, and even was
I liked
World of Beer.
I know they still have them around town, but that one's
I
gone.
know, but that one was great.
They have
Yeah.
a World of Beer downtown.
Yeah, but it's gone
Downtown.
from Sand Lake.
Yeah, Sand Lake
Yeah.
was.
They have one in the new area
Yeah.
by SeaWorld. that
and there's
new
one
with
in
White Castle
Claremont
and stuff.
too. I think. They
Yeah,
have a
there
World
is.
of Beer.
But
Yep.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
But it's I mean, I'll be honest, that area I kind of stay away from because of the traffic.
the traffic, yes.
It's awful there.
Ooh,
It's
so okay.
really bad, and they've got nowhere to go. They can't really build the infrastructure.
I come from
out.
the back way, like
Turkey Lake.
Yeah,
Yeah, or I'll take a Popcove Island.
no,
right? Is
that's
that-
what I mean. A Popcove
Popcove
Island.
Island,
That's what
yeah.
I go.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go to that area, I don't go I-4 Nope.
No, I4 nope.
I-4 Nope.
that
Not
whole-
progress for me
Why?
because it's again too much of the same.
Too much of the
They already
same.
got all the stuff they need to down there.
Okay.
It's going to create more headaches, more traffic, unless they're going to be doing something with how the lights function and how there's going to have to be separate turnoffs and things like that on the roadway itself.
Yeah, that's just more construction and then we're in more traffic for.
Dude, I mean, think how hard it is getting into the Whole Foods on the corner.
I know.
Granted, you buy a thing of broccoli there, it's $35, but I mean, whenever you go into Whole Foods,
it's wholesome,
but it's wholesome, right? But like that specific place, I mean, like that corner is just terrible, man. Terrible. So I'm going to have to say not progress. I love you, Orlando, and I'll always be with you. But
that's fair. Not progress.
Not
fair
progress.
enough.
I think it's progress for the area. I don't think it's progress for traffic.
Yeah.
If they do put in a restaurant and like it's a high-end restaurant, I hope it's good. I hope it's unique. I hope it's something that is not offering. Yeah, I hope it's not a chain.
Yeah.
I want something unique. I want something that's like exclusive to Orlando.
If you know it's coming and you have the inside information, comment on what it is. Because I want to know.
Yeah,
great.
And thank you, Orlando, for sponsoring this episode.
Yeah,
podcast
for the entire city. Cool. Well,
yeah, that was the Old Town Throwdown. Should we go to Donald?
Yeah, let's hear about the Ren Theater.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Let's do it.
Let's talk to him.
All right. Our next guest is an Orlando native. He is an accomplished playwright, director, producer, co-founder, and artistic director of his newish downtown Orlando theater called the Renaissance Theater Company. With over 20 years of experience in the theater industry, he has become a well-respected figure in the community. He is known for his unique and innovative approach to writing and producing art, as well as his dedication to nurturing new talent and new works. His award-winning shows have been produced all over Central Florida and have even been featured in New York. His theater's vision focuses on diversity, inclusivity, innovation, fun, and a promise of a livable wage for all his employees. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Rupe. Wow. Welcome to the show, Donald. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We're really excited to have you here. So I've known Donald for a long while now. He's a good friend of mine, and I've seen his works throughout town earlier, but I really got to know him over the last few years, and they just opened up and got this new space. And what's really cool about his theater is that they really only do new works, and they feature fresh new artists, and it's really, really fantastic.
For those who don't know what the Ren is, can you explain just like overview of what it is and who you guys are?
Yeah, so Renaissance Theater Company, or the Ren for people we like, is our new company that we just started in the middle of the pandemic, really. But my co-founder and I, Chris Campmeyer is his name. He found this listing for a building in downtown Orlando, and like as a joke, sent it to me like, should we buy this building? As if I would have anything to do with the purchasing of the building. And I was like, I mean, sure. And I didn't really believe him, to be honest. Like, honestly, did not believe him. And then a few months later, we were opening our first show.
No, so he didn't buy a theater. He bought a building.
A building.
To put a theater in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a warehouse. It was like a printing warehouse originally.
Wow.
So it's perfect. He sent me the listing, and I said, honestly, I would be shocked if you found another space in Orlando that was as suited to becoming a theatrical space.
Mm-hmm. And what's so cool about it was a warehouse, and there's different rooms, and to be honest, when they first started, I went to your opening fundraiser for it. It literally was just like a black box, and it had different rooms, it had different levels. It was really upstairs levels, downstairs levels, and to see what they've like taken it to in the last couple of years has really been amazing.
Yeah. So overall, you don't do. Like most people that go to theater, they see Camelot or they see My Fair Lady. Mm-hmm. Like you don't do those, and the space isn't even designed for that. So what was the initial planning part? Obviously, you guys were having a conversation when he bought the building, but where'd you come up with this cool model?
Because your shows have been on traditional stages in the past, and it's like the fourth wall is there, but this space lends itself to immersive theater. So like, have you like shifted your art and have shifted your shows to incorporate that element more?
Yeah, to be honest, it was everything that we've done has kind of been accidental, and I'm not much of a planner. So like we got the space on like, I think it was September 7th. I always forget the actual date, but and we were like, okay, we looked at this huge building that was empty, and I was like, well, we should kind of do something cool while it's still empty. Mm-hmm. So 3 weeks after we got the keys to the building, we opened what was called Nosferatu, our first show ever, and it was this immersive vampire experience that you don't see immersive theater really done in this specific way in Orlando usually. So we used the entire building just as it was. And it was like immediately it changed my whole perspective of the kind of thing that we should be doing, in large part because the people who came to that event were not a traditional theater audience. And I was just stunned. Mm-hmm. It was like the kind of audience that theater companies around the world would beg for.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Young people, diverse people. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, how the hell do we go from this to doing like a traditionally staged musical? And the answer was we don't.
Can't. We're gonna lose all of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So immediately I pivoted and I'm like, okay, well, we were gonna do, I had always wanted to write like a holiday show because I hate holidays, so I wanted to write something that, you know, celebrates people like me. And immediately I was like, okay, well, I can't do just a normal ass musical like we planned to. So I wrote the next thing thinking of it as more of this immersive experience, which everybody uses that word all the time now, and it drives me crazy because most of those things are not actually immersive. But
because you can't actually touch people.
Yeah, it's not like,
you know, like I would like to just, you know, sometimes just touch people's cheeks and say,
you can't,
you know, Merry Christmas, you know, that kind of stuff. But
I mean,
or can you?
We touch a little bit.
Can? Okay,
yeah.
cool.
We toe the line on what's appropriate, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, nice. So it is immersive theater.
What we do is immersive.
Okay.
So
cool.
yeah, what's your definition of immersive? Because that it is. I've seen 2 shows there, and it is 1,000% immersive. And it was I've seen a lot of theater in my life, and yours is different, but it's coming from your brain. So what is immersive to you?
Yeah.
I think most of what I do in my life, but also mostly as an artist, is like learning what I don't want to do from watching other people's.
That's a great. I do the same thing.
So like I've seen a lot of quote unquote immersive theater, and it was really important to us that it was, if it was interactive, it wasn't really interactive. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't require the audience to do anything that would make them uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Or like for introverts like me, like they wouldn't feel like
they don't want to come. Yeah,
they're not performing.
Right.
Yeah.
So immersive, not interactive, that was important. And also like the idea that it really is happening all around you, and that in the places that we create, the audience has a place that without the audience, the show doesn't work. And whereas you can do, Camelot was your example, to an empty room and it can work fine.
Right.
Our shows cannot function without an audience present.
Wow. Okay.
Which we've learned.
You have to rehearse. Yeah, like this is awful.
And it just feels kind of like, what are we even doing here? Once we've kind of learned the bones of the thing, it
becomes completely new, because you're adding another element, another character, was essentially the audience is and functions as.
Yeah. And so immersive, you know, for us, it means like everything that you touch when you come into the show has something to do with the show.
Part of the story, right?
Yeah. It's so cool. All right. Now, we've talked a little bit about his theater career, but I would like to ask him some questions. So you are an Orlando native. So like, can you tell us just like a little bit about where you grew up, how you grew up, where you went to school, like all that, like your journey here that led you to ultimately reside here?
Well, I say I'm Orlando. I'm a Central Florida native. Mm-hmm. I grew up primarily in Kissimmee, St. Cloud.
Okay. That's right.
Yeah, mostly St. Cloud, which
That's Orlando.
Often jokingly say is like the asshole of Orlando. But also
it's
not
filled
jokingly.
with lots of cows.
Yeah.
Which do have assholes.
They do.
Yes. I actually grew up on a cattle ranch.
Did you really?
I spent, for like 4 or 5 years. Yeah. My aunt and uncle are a famous historical cattle family. Yeah, they're the Partons, not of Dolly Parton fame, but
I've heard
there are roads named after them and schools.
Wow.
So yeah, I spent some of my childhood living with my aunt and uncle and their kids in the cattle ranch.
Yeah, I mean, St. Cloud is pretty historic in itself, right? It's a pretty old town.
Yeah, it's very old, and it has like a deep history, and like a lot of veterans moved there. But in the cattle industry, they are still huge. But
yeah, they own the cattle industry.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned that. I wasn't just throwing out random bovine information.
I'm sure you knew that.
So then when did you come like closer to downtown? When did you move?
After college. So I went to school at FSU, and then I moved back and I actually taught theater at the high school that I attended.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Yeah. And I ended up staying a little too long, but for 7 years, I was a high school theater teacher at Gateway High School in Kissimmee. And during that, I also started to direct in Orlando and all around Central Florida.
In various other community theaters, where were you getting your other directorial experience from?
I worked pretty much almost everywhere that you could think of, probably, as a director.
Capone's?
not
Skip. Sorry, I had to throw that out there, you know?
No.
Okay, cool.
Like
cool.
I was mostly community theater, and then it's kind of a bad word in the theater world lately, but Mad Cow was the first place that gave me like my first quote unquote professional gig.
Yeah.
The first place I directed in Orlando was Theater Downtown, which is what occupied the space across the street from the Renaissance Theater Company.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Frank and Fran gave me my first start here.
Frank and Fran.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when did you start writing?
It was more recent. I kind of like love to tell. It's kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like everything I do is in a negative response to other things usually. But
hey, we all have our motivation.
Yeah.
I started writing because some guy who is locally well known, so I won't mention his name, but sent me this like long message unprovoked about my directing style, and told me that I was taking too many liberties with other people's shows because I would have such a high concept on shows that have been made popular. And
he was giving the director notes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Never met him. Sent me this long
unprompted.
Oh,
thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
But I knew his name.
Yeah.
Because he's older and has been around, and for some reason that was like. First of all, I was like, what an asshole. But then I was also like, you're kind of right. It would be easier doing theater if I didn't have to put my own spin on a show, if the whole show was my own spin on the show.
Yeah.
And so I started writing kind of in a response to someone's critique.
Wow.
And I often wonder, like, I bet he didn't foresee this happening.
Because completely changed your trajectory
kind of
your
180.
career, right?
Yeah, completely. And it was like after I wrote that first show, the first show I ever wrote was called Once I Laughed. It was about the Andrews sisters, which is also how did I land on that topic. But, and it was like immediately, it was like, oh my God, honestly, this is so much easier.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to ask for permission or feel like you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. You just can do it, right?
Yeah. And it's kind of led me, in all kinds of directions that I never thought.
So when you were teaching at the high school, was that at the time where you're like, oh, this is what I'm going to kind of do? Or did you always feel like that was a stopgap to be where you are now?
I fully thought I was going to stay a teacher.
Yeah.
Which now is like totally absurd.
Yeah. I could never imagine you being a teacher. That's so wild.
Well, but a teacher is a director, you know what I mean? At the same time. And so I can see where that's coming from. But
in a lot of ways, I was a great teacher in terms of like teaching my students acting
skill sets. Yeah.
My students were to this day some of the most incredible performers I've ever worked with, because they became like, they were with me for so long.
Right.
But yeah, in terms of like structure and, being at work at 7 a.m. and rule following, and I was never very good at any of that. And I was so young. I started teaching when I was like just turned 21.
Oh, wow.
Holy cow. So you just graduated and went right into teaching.
Yeah. I graduated from college early and I fell into a teaching position that happened to open up.
And this is at your former high school?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And I had no business teaching children. No one. I don't think
we had knowledge
should be a teacher
and you had
until
experience.
They're 30 years old.
Yeah, you could have. I'm sure you were giving some good stuff to them.
Oh yeah, I mean we did some incredible work, but I was like, partying at night and going in and teaching at 7 a.m.
Like what 21-year-olds do.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
Well, what made you decide to stay in Orlando and then like ultimately like open a business here? Like you could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've I don't really know. I mean, without the risk of taking a weird turn, I think it was kind of like childhood trauma that like made me a failure to launch a little bit. Like I grew up extremely poor, and I never traveled. Like I didn't leave the state until after college. Like my first time visiting in New York City was when I was 21. Wow. And so like I didn't dare to dream really until much later in life, because I just didn't have opportunities.
Wasn't a reality to you.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's a huge part of it, is like I just never thought it was an option. It's now changed completely, where it's like I feel this responsibility to stay. And the Renaissance Theater Company is like, my best friend Landon gave me when he saw that first production of Nosferatu on our first date, he was like, this is way cooler than you are. And I was like,
this is what's inside me.
Well, but I was like, you're totally right. I don't know how this came. And I sit at the Ren often thinking like, how is this the thing that I created? Because I'm like not cool. But like last night we were sitting at this giant event for our weekly Musical Mondays event, packed room. And I'm like, how is this an extension of me?
Wow.
But I think the reason the Ren is so successful already in such a short time is because it has its own personality outside of me. And a lot of people who are founders of companies, the organizations are direct extensions of them. And when they leave, the organization has to do a sort of rebirth. But the Ren is its own thing, can totally exist without me. I mean,
hence the name Renaissance, the rebirth.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think also the people that I mean, I know you cast the show and there's different people in the shows, but there's also returning actors that come back and do. I know Blake's big part of it too. And that's an extension of you guys too. But that's what gives its heartbeat and its personality, is the people that you've put into these productions as well. I mean, to me, every time, the two shows I saw, very different characters and different experiences, but there's a familiarity there that I enjoyed as an audience member too, that I'm sure a lot of people as well, when they go there, it feels super familiar, but still a little like, what's going to happen tonight, but not uncomfortable, right?
Yeah. We call it the Donald Cinematic Universe.
The Donald Cinematic Universe. Is that how I've experienced it? Well, the second time you go back, I experience it more, because I will say, like we've all been in shows and we've all done shows. We've all seen shows where it's like, please don't pick me because I don't want to be in the show. I don't want to. I've been in plenty of shows. I'm an audience member, but you guys do a really good job of not making anybody feel uncomfortable. If they want to partake, they can. Right. That's another cool thing you guys do. But the second time when I went to saw the Office show, I enjoyed it more because I knew it was more of an experience than a rule follower of what I had to do. And it was super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
We don't even use it's weird. I don't even really think of the shows that we do as theater in a way.
Right.
Like, and we don't use that word in our marketing. And if something's a musical, we do not call it a musical, because we don't want people to come in with the ideas of,
right, that it's going to be Camelot.
Exactly. And so like our target audience is like people who would never go see a musical,
right, yeah.
And they're coming and then they get there and we trick them into it and they're like, oh, this is a musical, but it's kind of not a musical.
Right.
It's theater, but it's kind of also just a fun night out, which is what theater should be anyway.
Right.
And you say you stumbled upon that, because like when I look at what entertainment is out there and what theater is out there in Orlando, it is very traditional. And so when you found the building, when you had your team where you were like, oh, this is it. This is what we do here. This is how we create art.
Yeah, it really was not the plan.
Yeah.
Because I used to write more traditional shows, and now I find myself like, okay, well, we've got this kind of genre that we're sitting in, which you would call immersive theater in the theater world, but it also is kind of not, because like our the characteristics of our shows are different. We think differently. Like a lot of times theater people are snobby. Like they want to create what they want to create, but that is often not what the audience actually wants to see.
Right.
Or not the audience that they say they want.
Right.
So you say you want a younger, more democratic, more diverse demographic coming to see your shows, but you're not doing shows that reflect that audience or what they want to see.
Right.
They're watching Euphoria at home. They don't want to go see Man of La Mancha in a theater. So I've kind of just entirely changed my entire perspective on what theater should be. And I kind of tricking people into what I would call high art by, we always think of like, it's not a gimmick, but we try to think, okay, what is the thing about this show that will draw people in to have an actually good time? Like not tricking them into having a good time. Like the good time is first, and then maybe we do some art.
Yeah. Because your audience, it is one of the most diverse audiences I've ever like experienced in a theater setting. And generally when you go to a theater, it's just like a sea of Q-tips, like whiteheads, just elderly generally. But your audience is young and old, gay or straight, black, white. I mean, everybody is there.
Ages are all different too.
It's incredible, and it's so unique.
And what I'm hoping catches on for people, and I don't like to give myself too much credit or give ourselves too much credit, but like I see theaters locally picking up on some of the things that we're doing, which is amazing. That's what we want to happen, because the older audience, they want to see what we're doing too.
Right.
And initially it felt like maybe they wouldn't, but now it's almost like we kind of broke into that world a little bit now too. So we're kind of getting the more traditional patron base.
Well, you're getting more attention. You're getting a lot more attention. Your theater has grown immensely. Even like I was saying, from the time that, I went to your first fundraiser, it was literally a black box with nothing in it. And now you've got amazing sets. Your sets are incredible. The lighting is fantastic. All the different rooms that you travel throughout the show. It's truly incredible. It's unlike anything that's being done around here, in my opinion.
With such a different take on theater and being all original work, I'm curious, how long do you have to plan? Like every other theater company or theater owner is like, great, let's call MTI and see who we can get for next year. We want to do the new one, and they kind of have their list out ready to go. How's your process work like that? Do you just have like 27 notebooks of random shit?
Well, I don't plan.
The night before, you're like, what show should we do?
You are a free spirit. I feel.
Does it stress you out? I feel like you're not a stressful person.
I'm not.
Look at his forehead. There's no wrinkles on his forehead.
He's so
not a one.
What's crazy, I really don't plan very far in advance. Like that's another thing. We just try. We're like, we're not going to do anything like any other theaters do. So like we don't plan a season. Like we don't announce a year ahead of time all of the shows we're going to do over the next year.
Right.
Like,
try and generate the buzz and all that kind of stuff.
Like to give you a perfect example, like we've been waiting on our air conditioning in one of our spaces to get fixed. It's finally getting fixed. So over the weekend I thought, okay, I guess we need to open a show in June. And I sent text messages to 6 people that I want to make a show with. And I said, hey, are you by any chance free on Monday at 3:30? So yesterday at 3:30, we met for the first time about a show that will open in June that we're writing from scratch. Awesome. And what's cool is like you said, like I owe everything that we're accomplishing to all of the people that allow me to get away with such bullshit, but also who bring their own skills to the table. And what's cool is they now have a trust that, okay, we might only rehearse this show quite literally 7 times, but we have proven time and again that we can do that.
We trust each other.
And you cast phenomenal talent. Like Blake Aburn is incredible Orlando,
local
actor here, and he's amazing. He's so funny. And
that's been a goal of mine for a long time, to like establish an Orlando kind of celebrity that hasn't existed in the right way, in my opinion. Like we have people who are notorious, but I've wanted to like build up this like class of performers, because we have so many incredible performers because of the theme parks mostly, that we don't build them up the way other big cities do.
Right.
And so like Blake is a great example. Like that has been intentional. Like once I find somebody who I'm like, okay, you could very easily go and have a career in New York. And it's true about him, but it's true about many people that work locally. So that's been a goal too, is like, okay, let's create our own class of kind of celebrity.
That's so cool. Now, something that you do that's different that I would say than all the other theater companies is you've found a way to get people to come back on a regular basis. And you do have weekly events. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about your weekly events that you have?
Yeah, honestly, most of those were accidental too. But it's kind of like, why doesn't every theater company in the world do Musical Mondays?
Correct. You have a platform. You have a space to let artists be artists.
Who said that the theater shall sit empty?
Yeah.
Except for rentals and shows on the weekends.
Correct.
And that again, that wasn't the plan. Musical Mondays I've always wanted to do, and I didn't make that up.
So tell them a little bit about Musical Monday, because this is I love Musical Monday. I go almost.
He was a guest performer.
I was a guest performer.
What? Really?
Mondays. Yes.
Did you tickle the ivories, or did you just strum
dusted
the
off
old
these
vocal
old
cords?
pipes
Dust off the
there.
cords.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, in other cities, usually, honestly, Musical Mondays is mostly a gay thing, and mostly it's just you go to a gay bar and they're playing musical theater videos. And people have done Musical Mondays in Orlando before, so that the idea isn't revolutionary, but I think the problem is their target audience has always been older gay white men, basically. So we've been not that. And ours is a live show, so every week we have special guests who bring people to see their show, obviously, and then we feature performances from shows at other theater companies. Anybody's welcome to come and do a song. But in it being every week, we've built it has its own audience, and the people that go to Musical Mondays are not always the same people who are going to our shows. And then we also do drag shows weekly that another venue in town closed, and we had some connection through actors who are also drag performers who said, hey, could we do our finale at the Wren? Because they thought they wanted to go out with a bang.
Yeah.
So they came for one night, one Wednesday, and did a show. And I'm like, why? We should just do this every week.
Time.
Right.
Like, this is theater.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then we establish a weekly drag show.
Cool.
And then I'm thinking, this weekly event thing, okay, it's constant income and it's also community building. Our theater mostly sits empty on Sundays because we don't do matinees, because young people don't go to matinees. We've tried and they just don't sell. So I'm like, what can we do on a Sunday?
They're all sleeping from brunch.
Exactly.
They're like, I had too much champagne and eggs Benedict.
Exactly.
Jeez Louise.
So then recently we started what's the Renaissance Fair, which from the beginning, we were like, I can't wait until people show up in
and they think we're in tights and a little beret.
It finally happened this Sunday.
What?
Yes.
You have madrigals or whatever? Yes.
We had some people show up in full costume, which we celebrated, obviously.
Oh my gosh.
But it's a market, so it's vendors and artists selling their stuff, food trucks, and then drag shows, live singers, a full drag bingo. So we have 3 weekly events that, like you said, is
gets people in there. It gets people in the door, and then it gives you a chance to promote the shows. And
it's creating community too.
Absolutely.
What a cool thing.
1,000%.
Yeah,
the community, and that's the one place that I felt the moment I walked in the doors is I felt included.
Accepted.
I felt welcome. I felt
Mhm.
accepted to be there. I didn't feel no judgment for anything, whatever. You let people be who they are, and it's such a testament to who you are, and the company that you keep and the productions that you put out there.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it was more because of how loving I am of a person, but it's, it's
no.
really not that. It's more I don't care.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I think that works to the benefit of a lot of the inhibitions that producers, directors, artists have, is that if you care less, then you are willing to experiment more.
Right.
Then you're willing to push that personal envelope, because if you're not worried about the flack or the pushback on these particular issues, or how far you push the envelope for a particular show, and if you don't care, then guess what? You're able to do that with no fear, and almost with complete freedom to actually explore what that means for you as a director and a writer and all those different kinds of things, you know?
Yeah.
So I think you not caring is just as much.
That's just as important.
It's just as important as if you were obsessed with it, you know? Because it gives you that edge where you're like, all right, cool. I'm done with this now. You know, I got my space. Let me focus all of this right now. And then you take that time back to yourself because you don't care. You know, you don't need to put another show out there that quickly.
You probably relieve stress from the people you work with.
Yeah.
As well. I'm already less stressed by hanging out.
Yeah. You know,
like, why do I care so much?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's kind of weird, a weird dichotomy because I am a very hugely sarcastic, like kind of bitchy human.
No.
But in rehearsals, like as things, you know, constantly go wrong, which they always do, it really doesn't faze me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's a skill set.
Yeah.
It is, because there's those moments whenever you're in a high octane situation and nobody's hitting their light cues,
right?
And like this one particular
actor,
become
a bad situation fast.
Yeah, you know, this one particular actor is doing something, they're looking for leadership, you know, and to have that kind of calming voice and be able to have that sense of stillness in the audience, it's nice.
We don't even do things like, we don't rehearse like we don't do a tech week. We don't have, because tech week is, you know, in theater is hell week.
Yeah.
And it's this moment where everybody stresses out because
all the elements are coming together at one time.
Yeah, you have to do it 1 week before you open.
Yeah.
I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Right.
The lighting people should just do whatever the lighting people want to do, and when they're ready to turn the lights on, turn them on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then go.
Yeah. We have to do sound a little bit before, but
so I have 2 questions, and then we'll do some rapid fire too. I want to know if you're a local actor and want to somehow be a part of what you're doing, what's the best way to go? I mean, obviously you have auditions and stuff, but what is...
Yeah. The very best way to get involved with the Ren is to come to the Ren.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
We are very good at getting to know people quickly. So Musical Mondays is honestly... that has been the biggest talent generator because we'll be watching people sing every week and like, that bitch is fierce. She needs to come back. So Musical Mondays honestly is the best way, or the Ren Fair. Just come and introduce yourself.
Just be a part of the culture and the community, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And we do cast everything through Kelsey Morales Casting, who I've known for 20 years probably.
Ooh, we can have them on.
We do need to have them on.
So in terms of jobs, that's the way
to go up, but to enter the world of it, just come.
Show up. And we're really big about, we post about it all the time, but we always offer affordable tickets. For every performance, we have $10 tickets available that go on sale at noon because we want theater to actually be accessible to people.
Yeah, that's great.
And for Musical Mondays, there is a charge. For a while we weren't charging, but we realized we're losing all kinds of money because it's an expensive event actually.
Right.
But if somebody can ever not afford anything, and we tell them all the time, just come and say, I don't have the money right now.
And if you're a theater goer and you haven't experienced the Ren yet, what's the best? I mean, obviously your website and all this, your email blasts are fantastic, by the way.
Thanks.
They're really good. But how do they go about?
Yeah, Chris, the co-founder, who is an actual genius, but one of the things he does is our website, which is rentheater.com, and he keeps it's the most updated website I've ever seen in my life, which for the first while I was really critical of him caring so much, but now I can't believe how many people actually look at the website.
Yeah. It's a cool website.
And he'll throw like little jokes in there that I'll say like, hey Chris, could you put this on the website? And he'll quote my exact words on the website. And
that's good.
It's
smart,
hysterical. And he'll drag me all the time, and I don't know, or he'll make fun of Blake and we have to check the website to see what Chris is saying about us.
That's awesome.
And for those of you who don't know, you guys have an open bar there. It's very casual. It's always a great time. I always have a blast anytime I go there.
That's neat.
And real quick, can you tell us a little bit about your most successful production there and your most significant production that you've done there?
Well, Nosferatu is probably the thing that is going to pay for Renaissance Theater Company for years to come. It's our flagship. It's other theaters do A Christmas Story, and we do Nosferatu, sexy naked vampires. But also
around a Halloween time, right?
Yeah. Also, if you watch it, it's also there's some art in there that you don't really expect. So that is by far our most successful thing. I think the most important thing is From Here, the musical, which is a more traditionally staged show that was that I wrote, actually predates the Ren, but we are still rewriting it, which is about Orlando and the aftermath of what happened at Pulse. So that's probably
I read about that. Yeah, definitely. I've read really, really great things about that from here, right?
Yeah,
from here.
Yeah.
We're all from here. So.
Yeah.
Well, not from here, but from here.
Well, yeah, not from here, but from here. Yeah.
Cool. Well,
that's fantastic.
We're so glad that you could be on the show and that you can come here and hang out with us and tell us a little bit about your theater and
you've calmed me down. Thank you.
I will say funnier. This is.
No, you don't need to be funny.
I'm usually funnier.
No, you don't need to. You don't need to be funny. We have sound effects for that.
Yeah, we'll add like fart sounds every
once in a while. After every one of your sentences, they're like,
yeah, it's really funny.
So normally we have a little tradition. We do some rapid fire questions that we ask our guests, and so you are not immune to the rapid fire questions. So
terrified.
Are you ready to answer? They're really easy. They're
sure.
not bad at all. Okay. I'm not going to ask this because we know that you are from here. Legoland or Gatorland?
Gatorland.
HOA or no HOA?
No HOA.
Palm trees or oak trees?
I have no idea.
Back roads or toll roads?
Toll roads.
Real golf or mini golf?
No golf.
Your AC below 78 or above 78?
Way below.
Beach or water park?
Neither.
Harry Potter or Star Wars?
Star Wars, because I'm not a transphobe.
Music or podcast?
Neither. Sorry. I'm a serial killer. I don't listen to music.
I just silence for me.
No, silence. Or a criminal podcast, so I know how to get rid of my next crime.
I entertain myself with my own ideas.
Literally.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Gatorland or Legoland?
I'll ask
Here
it.
it is.
Oh,
You
son
do
of
that
a
every
bitch.
time.
Splash Mountain or Space Mountain?
Neither. I'm terrified.
No mountains.
Okay, last one. Turn signal or no turn signal?
I hope turn signal.
There you go.
There we go. All right, Donald. Well, we've enjoyed having you on the show. If people want to learn a little bit more about the theater, where can they go?
Yeah,
Is
or
there a
you
website,
specifically too.
Instagram.
I have no idea what my Instagram handle is. It's some version of my name, Donald Rupe something.
But the theater has an Instagram handle,
yeah,
right?
the Ren Theater.
The Ren Theater. And you have a website?
Yes, rentheater.com.
Okay.
We're always doing shows.
Mm-hmm.
Come see them.
Everybody go see a show. Do it. Do yourself a favor and go experience.
Go get
the show in June.
The show in June.
That was
I
written
can't
yesterday.
Tell you what
we haven't no
even
name.
It, so
but maybe
but it's gonna happen.
Maybe that
will
be the title. The show in June.
The show in June.
4,250th follower.
Oh, nice.
Well, thanks for having us.
I think you had
them.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We really
Renaissance
appreciate you
Theater.
coming.
Thanks, man.
Thank
you so much, Don.
All right, that's it. We're done.